Hey everyone, welcome back to the Soundbyte. My name is Andrew, and today we're going to be jumping into some Liquid Tension Experiment right here on the channel. Checking this out for the first time. I have been aware of the band for a number of years, obviously through Dream Theatre, so several members of the band are in Dream Theatre, obviously. So I have checked out a couple of songs in the past before. I don't really remember. All I remember is that it's like a very sort of much more proggy kind of stuff than what Dream Theatre does, which is unbelievable, really, you know, considering how proggy a Dream Theatre actually is. But Liquid Tension Experiment, I guess, is their side project that they kind of did a number of years ago. That kind of is a little bit more it's a little bit more sort of different, I guess, to what Dream Theatre does. It's a little bit more experimental, I guess, hence the name Liquid Tension Experiment. So this was actually suggested by a Jimmer 6545 to check out this particular performance of this song, When the Water Breaks. So this is from 2008 apparently, and never seen this before. And like I said, I have checked out some of their stuff before in the past, but I don't really remember. So this would be sort of almost like really just the first time checking out the band again, really. So I'm keen to check it out. Something really sort of different, which I definitely do love. I don't know why I never really did a deep dive into Liquid Tension Experiment, considering how much of a fan I am of Dream Theatre, I guess. I don't know, there's only so many bands you can listen to, right? You know, you can't listen to them all. So at some point you just have to go, well, I'll listen to it later, and you sort of forget about it, which is probably what happened in this case. But yeah, I don't know if the band's still around. Let me know in the comments if you know if they're actually still active, they're still doing stuff together, or especially with my point now leaving Dream Theatre, I guess they kind of never really continued that on. So I'm not really sure if they did or not, but yeah, and this is a live performance here. So When the Water Breaks live from 2008. Let's check this out. I was gonna say, was it just me, or was there a baby screaming there? I guess it's part of the song, right? Okay, so Portnoy's got a single drum bass there, so a little different to what he usually normally uses. Okay, this is going to be crazy, isn't it? Yeah, definitely scaled his kit down for this one. What the hell instrument is that? That guy's playing looks like a bass? What is that? I don't know how many often I can pause it here. I was going to pause it. Sorry, I know there's a solo happening, but I'm sure there's probably a lot of solos happening, so there's going to be not a lot of points to actually pause it. But I have to know what the hell that guitar is. That I'm guessing it's a bass, because obviously I can see Petrucci playing guitar, so I just assume that the other guitar player is a bass. That's a very weird looking instrument. There's no, like, whatever you call the rest of it on the, you know, the main part of the guitar. There's no body of the guitar. Where is it? I've seen like fretless guitars, and I've seen like guitars with no headstock and stuff, but I've never seen a guitar with no body on it. So that's a very weird looking instrument. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you know what exactly that is, if it is a bass, and what is the actual reasoning behind why it looks like that, if there is some particular technical reason behind that, or if it's just because they think it looks cool or just different or whatever, you know. I'm very curious to see what that whole story is behind that instrument. Okay, I mean, that sort of sounds like Dream Theatre, so... at least that section anyway. There doesn't seem to be a lot of production going on with this show as well. Like, are they even playing in front of a crowd, or? Almost feels like they're like filming a music video or something. Yeah, if I remember correctly, this was all instrumental, so there was no vocals or anything, right? Feels like the screen behind them is like a green screen or something. Is there something supposed to be there, or? That is definitely a bass, obviously, yeah. Just a very interesting looking bass. We're getting into some interesting territory here. I've watched him Fortnite play. He's just got such a flair for playing his drums, and it just all grooves still somehow. Jordan doing his solo. So they sort of do the same thing with Dream Theater as far as the trade-offs between Petrucci and Rudess. So. I'll just quickly pause it there because there's probably not going to be a lot of moments where I can do this. But I want to quickly mention, first of all, the bass player, amazing, obviously unique sort of instrument, and one hell of a mustache as well. Petrucci's playing, obviously amazing, and the overall kind of theme of the style of music that I'm hearing is definitely got like a sort of like throwback to like the 60s and 70s a little bit, you know. That's kind of got that sort of, especially the 70s sort of like prog kind of sound, you know, those kind of bands, jam sort of bands, I guess you could say. There's definitely that influence coming through, I can hear for sure, you know. And then, Mike Portnoy, just absolute beast on the drums. And interesting, like I said before, about how he's only got the single kit. So, I don't know if he does a lot of double bass in Liquid Tension Experiment at all, but I know you can still do double bass with a single bass drum, you know, which a lot of drummers do that nowadays. But obviously he's been known for, like, you know, using these massive kits, but it's interesting how he scaled it down. And even though the stuff might be to some degree more complicated or technical with this kind of music, with this particular band, it almost feels like he's scaling the drum kit down in order to make it more challenging in a way, because I have heard with drummers, like, the smaller the kit and the more complicated you have with more parts, then the more challenging that it is actually to play on a smaller kit, as opposed to a bigger kit where you've got more options and you kind of, like, you know, you can sort of, it's easier to sort of access, you know. So whereas a smaller kit, you kind of feel like you have to really think and kind of like simplify everything a bit more, you know. So but so it's very interesting, but still what he's doing on the drums is you know, absolutely amazing. And again, just that style that he has, it's like a signature style that he has that you can hear, and just an absolute joy to watch. It's interesting how the band's dynamic here is kind of, it almost feels like they're all kind of doing their own thing. So even though it does have that sort of jammy sort of feel, yeah, in a kind of weird progressive technical sort of aspect, there's definitely a jam kind of feel, even though they're all kind of doing their own like thing, because everyone's kind of doing their own parts, and it's just amazing what each individual is actually doing, you know. So yeah, I don't know. This is just not the kind of music you would definitely hear on the radio, though. It's definitely kind of more like, you know, well, you like this, and let's do a deep dive into like further into like the, you know, the prog kind of stuff, you know. So I can definitely see why this is a side project for these guys here, because it's a bit of an outlet for them to kind of get even more crazy than what they do in Dream Theater, you know. So and quickly, I want to mention the production stuff. I don't know what's going on here. If anyone can let me know in the comments about what's going on with this particular show or this particular performance. And it just feels like they're almost like filming like for a video or something, you know, because it's like this big blue screen in the background, like a green screen kind of thing, and there's very little production. So I don't know what's actually happening, or is that just part of their thing? Is that what their theme is, you know? But let me know either way if you know more about what's going on with this particular performance and the show. I don't know why, but the bass player just reminds me a little bit of Howie Mandel. I don't know. Okay, the screen color in the back there has changed color, so I guess there is something going on there. How many strings is that? Oh, he's got a lot on there. Right, has he got a guitar? You've definitely got a 70s jam band kind of vibe here. There you go, yeah, he's got his guitar. Dexterity in your fingers to be able to do that, like it's amazing. Seamless transition there from Jordan, going from one guitar to a keyboard. Before they get into some more crazy stuff, yeah, I'm really enjoying the performance here. Like I said before, it's definitely got that kind of jammy sort of feel. So it feels like it's, you know, the four guys kind of sitting in a room and jamming it out and stuff. Even though there's obviously that sort of prog technical sort of side of the music, there's definitely a sort of jammy sort of feel with the music and the performance together, you know. So it's definitely got that sort of feel to it, which I really enjoy watching. It's really, really cool, and everything kind of feels very natural and very laid back. Very little production, like I said. The sounds are kind of very organic sound. Like Portnoy's drums here sound like, it just sounds like a very organic kind of thing. Like they can hear the acoustics in the room and stuff, you know. So it's kind of very kind of simplified in the way that they've set up themselves here. Despite the fact that the music is kind of like on next level kind of stuff, you know. So even though there's a lot of simplistic kind of stuff there as well, like I said, the jammy kind of stuff is what I think is the most surprising thing about this, because I was expecting something a bit more, I don't know, some real crazy kind of stuff, which there is, but like I was surprised by how kind of laid back and loose that the whole thing was as well, you know, which I didn't know that Liquid Tension Experiment was. I thought there were definitely more of a kind of like, you know, very technical and all kind of like more so than, you know, what Dream Theater does. Now, when I'm watching them, I kind of feel like Dream Theater are kind of more technical in some respect, you know, in terms of like their songs and stuff. And this is kind of more, a little bit more laid back. So, very different. Again, this is just from this performance in this particular song. So I could be wrong. Maybe the rest of the stuff is, you know, different. I don't know. But, yeah, either way, I'm really enjoying this. Got the switch up there. Oh, he's got the double kicks there. There we go. Yeah, that's impressive. To be able to just not only perform that, but to actually remember all the parts as well, you know. Because this thing is almost like over 17 minutes, which is crazy. So obviously that's the end of the performance there. Is this the last? It feels like it could be the last song of the show or something, or which makes sense, you know. It's a good encore or a good set ender. Yeah, there you go. That's Dream Theater there. Oh, not Dream Theater. Liquid Tension Experiment with When the Water Breaks, live from 2008. So that was done in. So I got the information here of Downey Theatre in Downey, California, June 27th, 2008. So which was yeah, a while ago. It was almost 20 years ago now, which is crazy. I think that was not long after, like a couple of years after that, I think is when Mike Portnoy left the band from Dream Theater, I should say. Because I know they did their last album with him in 2009. So then, yeah, not long after that, it was, yeah, they sort of went their separate ways. So I guess the Liquid Tension Experiment kind of got put to the side, and I never really kind of did anything else with that. I don't know, let me know in the comments if you know what the band is up to these days, how long they continued after Portnoy and Dream Theater sort of went their separate ways. But that was amazing. That was a great performance. Really enjoyed that. I'd love to do more. So if there's anything else from Liquid Tension Experiment that you want me to check out, let me know. Drop it in the comments and I'll definitely add it to the list. So thank you for tuning in as always. Please subscribe if you haven't. Thank you to all those who have subscribed. Any Dream Theater stuff as well you want me to check out, let me know. I'm pretty familiar with all their stuff anyway, but there's a lot of music videos and live performances that I probably haven't seen. So I can surely check that stuff out as well. So anyway, thank you as always, and I'll see you in the next video.